Part 5 is what's the makeup of an LED downlight. Now, before we get into this, there's a lot of words in here, and there's a lot of information, and there's a lot of everything that we can go through. And look, and you need to read it. You need to get an understanding, because we're going to pull questions out of all of this information. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take you on that bit of a journey, and I'm going to show you exactly what they're made of. Right, so here is a standard 90mm downlight. Now, what makes this downlight work is it has a remote driver. Okay, so the driver plugs into this cable here. This is a multi, so it has 3 wires. The reason it's a multi, it's selectable from the driver. So that gives us white, warm white, neutral white. Right, now, the one thing you have to be aware of, it's thin, it's narrow. The driver sits here. The driver can sit up to about 30 centimeters away, but it's very, very slim. And it's slim for a reason, because when we have a truss, we have gyprock, we have our battens, and then we have the truss cords. If I accidentally drill a hole underneath the truss, guess what? I can fit that in, all right? But let's have a look at what the makeup of this light is, not just why it was designed the way it is. So, standard downlight has the clips it in, no problems at all. But if I was to remove this cover, ouch, right, which I can screw this cover off. So that's our ring. We can change that ring, we can put a silver ring on it or whatever, okay, because it's threaded, it screws on. And most of them, you can interchange the rings. Not from light to light, but you can interchange, there's normally other colours available. The makeup of an LED downlight is the same across the board. Okay, they all have the similar, it's just the variations of. Okay, so we have our ring, that locks it in. That also has the spacing on there, which when it goes up to the ceiling keeps it nice and flat. We have our reflective material. Now this varies from one light to the next, but it all does the same thing. This is designed to bounce the light around slightly to ensure that you get a crisp, clear, uniform light coming through and looking down onto the ground. Right, so when you look at a downlight, the light that you get here is not the light that you get at the end of here, right? You might lose 1-2% maybe, but what you're getting here is you're getting that nice, firm, consistent light. Okay, but that doesn't do it all by itself. Another key factor, and it's probably the cheapest factor of the cheapest component, but it does the most. You see this reflective material, and you can see it's actually on a cone. So it's actually on a bit of a cone. So it's designed to fit snug around that downlight. So at the bottom, it's very, very snug. And at the top, it actually sits right hard up against the back of that. Okay, so when we got that in, you can't see any gaps of the heat sink or anything like that. Now, what this does is it takes the light from there. So if I was to put that in, plug that in, yeah, we'd get light, but it'd be pretty average, right? If I was to then put that on there and put that, so if we've got, say we've got 2,000 odd lumens coming out of this, okay? Let's say, well, let's have a look at what is the lumen output for this particular light. Because, well, and I'll give you a bit of an idea. Okay, so this is 1200 lumens. Okay, so if I looked at this and I said on white, this is going to be 1200 lumens. But if I took this out and I just put that back in, what do you think would happen with my lumen output? It'll drop, and it'll drop substantially, because this reflective material made out, first of all, the design that it sits snug, it takes that LED and it bounces it around and intensifies the light. Okay, so we might lose 15, 20, 25% by taking this out. But put this in, and all of a sudden our light, we've got over 1200 lumens straight away. Right, if I was to have that, just that in, and not that, same issue, because I'm not pushing the light back to bounce out. So as much as you think you're pushing it back, you're reducing the light, we're actually intensifying the light. This is why LED lights are made the way they are. Because LED chips go like this, we have to find a way. So just come back to this for a minute. When we look at this 400 watt, see how the light all bounced around and bounced off the reflector? We didn't get a real good output. But when we looked at the LED, yet they shone straight down. So with an LED downlight, we're going to achieve this. We know that, okay? But we need this element of bounce around because we need that reflectiveness to intensify that light and give us the lumen output because we're only a 9 watt downlight. Okay, so this 9 watt downlight is going to be replacing at some point a 100 watt bulb. So what do we have to do? We have to intensify the light. So how do we do that? We put in our reflective material, we put our diffuser on, and then we screw it all together. Now at the end of the day, that's what a downlight is designed for. Now that also, yes, they generate the heat, but now we've got a really good quality heat sink, right? We've got a good quality heat sink. We've got a, right, so we've got a good quality heat sink. We've got a driver's remote, so we're keeping this as cool as possible. It's efficient, it's effective, it's intense, it's got great light output. And that's what a downlight is. Now, I know we've got a lot of information up here about downlights and things like that, and I want you to have a read of it. But the benefits of an LED light, in short, are they have an estimated lifespan of around 25 years. This is the LEDs that we're talking about. At the end of the lifespan, it will go to a lower light, but unlike a light bulb that pops, there's a good chance it'll keep going, but the light level will drop substantially over time. They're environmentally friendly, free from harsh chemicals and things like that. They don't heat up as much as other lights. So they're not, if you've got an air-conditioned house, you don't have all that intense heat coming out of all of your lights. And you can get a range of colour temperatures. So you can have one light that has 3 colour temperatures. So that's where, and the energy, 9 watts compared to 100 watts. It's far more efficient, it's going to last longer, it's more cost effective, and this day and age, look, they're not that expensive either. So that's the LED downlight makeup. Okay, so it gives you a good overview and a visual overview of what it is and how it works. Obviously, there's more information in there, and I'd like you to read that because we'll pull some questions out of that for the questionnaire at the end of it. But that's primarily, that's what it's all about.